politicians, their ethics and the lies that they perpetrate and perpetuate and that they get away with. You may have heard of Chapter 7 of the Criminal Code. This was described as the proper administration of government. We're here today to talk about governance. And Chapter 7 was specifically written, I believe, for politicians, but it was written by politicians. A businessman could go to jail, would go to jail for misleading and deceptive conduct. Politicians, the majority of our politicians, engage daily in misleading and deceptive conduct, and they don't go to jail. And this Chapter 7 is supposedly there to pick them up on it. An example, Bill Shorten's lies about inequality increasing when the Gini coefficient shows that income inequality has not changed since the year 2000, and in fact it's improved since 2011 to 2016. All it needs is for one politician to have his truthfulness tested in court, and that's going to make all the others, it's going to concentrate their minds and bring them back onto the planet that we inhabit and we in business inhabit, whereby if we make false and misleading statements, then we can end up in jail. So that's the first thing, ethics and lies. Tied into that, Tony Fitzgerald established an ethical standards and looked at establishing a federal anti-corruption body. And he wrote to every politician and asked them to commit to the new standards that he was applying. We have politicians who will not even stand up and adopt the Fitzgerald principles and say that I'll try to tell the truth most of the time. I'll try not to mislead or deceive. So this is something that I feel that we need to absolutely have punched out there and put into the public domain and beefed up. Chapter 7 of the Criminal Code, Good Governance of Australia, and to hold politicians to account for misleading and deceptive conduct. Tied in with that, and again the points made by the General and by Michael with regard to politicians. Our politicians are paid more than double than their British counterparts. Backbenchers receive a world-beating $200,000 plus. What other entry-level job is there in the world where you can walk in as a 20-year-old, as Wyatt Roy, the former member for Longman, did, and earn over $200,000 with no life experience? And one of the things that I would like to see is politicians, the criteria: you cannot enter Parliament under the age of 30, a little bit like the Spartans. They didn't become full citizens until they'd done their military service and they were aged 30. You cannot enter Parliament until you've been employed in private enterprise for 7 years, and you need to spend 3 years in the armed forces, any service, any arm, any rank, or 7 years in the Army Reserve. When we look at the civil service, the 18 government department heads receive over $800,000. This is $300,000 more than the Prime Minister. The former head of the Post Office received pay of $5 million. Why is any public servant paid more than the Prime Minister? A Major General, Divisional Commander, or a Lieutenant General, a Corps Commander, earns less than the Prime Minister, and they have the lives of 10,000 men or 30,000 men and the stake of a nation in their hands, and they don't get that kind of money. And so what we do, we are paying these civil servants this money, and they're not delivering. If they delivered, I'd say fine, okay, but they're not. It's just not happening. So that's where we need to get things cleaned up. A better class of politician, and the civil servants doing their job and implementing the projects that are being developed for Australia, for Australians, for our future, and to do it efficiently, cost effectively, and on time and in budget. Thank you.